Hey folks, good afternoon and welcome to Friday's Market Wrap-Up here at Top Gun Options. My name is Matthew Buckley, call sign Wiz, the Chief Options Training Instructor here at TGO and a private Wisconsin college. What's the name of this college? Ripon College in Wisconsin. You get my big FU of the day. So they're banning a 9/11 memorial citing, wait for it, Muslims' feelings. Now, when you see something like this, or at least me, I get so white hot that I'm actually completely calm. This is where our country is going, folks. You know, don't worry about the 3,000 incinerated Americans' feelings or their families or anything like that. Let's worry about some Muslims' feelings. Ripon College, you get my big FU of the day. And let me stay political for a little bit, and then we'll get strategic and do a Friday market wrap-up. We had a great trade. We looked at closing today on China, so we'll cover that in a second. But this is, I've briefed my members on this, folks. You know, the public poking from Donald Trump of people, he's doing this for a reason, folks, because he knows everything. He knows exactly what happened, who committed treason, and all this stuff. He's seen it. He is the ultimate declassifying authority. So trust me, I've ripped him apart on Twitter like, hey, man, why don't you just shut up and release everything or, you know, hold a press conference and say, here it is. Here's one of the reasons, guys, and I'm hearing this on good authority is, and that's why Jeff Sessions is kind of like just sitting there. It's shocking, apparently. If we put a spotlight on the other side of the aisle, because right now, you know, a disgusting New York attorney that records his client and a dude that, you know, evaded taxes 15 years ago, that's 2 years and $20 million of Russian collusion. Apparently, from some folks I talked to, they're like, Wiz, you would not believe how bad it really is. So Sessions is almost thinking he's doing us a favor or saving the republic. But Donald Trump, folks, he's getting ready to burn this thing down. Because, you know, when you lose a guy like me, when you see a guy like that jackwad Bruce Orr, who's still got a badge, a gun, and a clearance and a pension, if I had conducted myself as a naval officer like that guy, I would have been arrested by the Naval Investigative Service. I would have been thrown in jail, pretrial confinement, court-martialed, and my life would have been destroyed, of course, after serving jail time. We are done with this animal farm bullshit in this country where all animals are equal, but some animals are equal than others. So this is whether it's an October surprise or something like that, you have to, for now, the market's whistling past the graveyard. There is a lot of stuff going on out there, folks, that, who was it, Sleepy Chuck Todd from NBC News sent out a tweet, was it yesterday or this morning, like, hey, do not miss work today, reporters. You know, he was hinting that Mueller's supposed to be dropping some sort of bombshell today. I'm telling you, folks, and Mueller's part of the swamp. If Trump's going to be the guy that's going to burn this whole thing to the ground. So just be ready for that. So the market's selling off right now. Why? Because, and this is classic. No deal. The loonie starts imploding, and our market's giving a little bit back after what? Secret insulting remarks. Apparently, guess they're not too secret by Trump. So the minister came out and who was it? Trudeau earlier in the week said, hey, you know, we might get a deal on NAFTA by Friday. I said no chance. So we actually held, you know, earlier in the week. Let me pull up FXI. We've been having a blast trading FXI. So let's pull this up. It's the iShares China Large Cap ETF. So last week we got, you know, the deal out of Mexico. So FXI had a big spike last. Was it Friday, Thursday, whenever the president said, you know, called Mexico, hey, we got a deal, such a deal. And our bear call spread that we had looked at last week was not looking so hot. What did I do? I remind my TGO members of, where's my Braveheart? He's on here somewhere. You know, I got to bring it up and show people again sometimes. I forget where it is. But we did the Braveheart hold. I said, folks, hang on a second. This is a short-term pop. China doesn't even know where Mexico is on a map. They could care less about Trump signing a deal with Mexico or China, or Canada for that matter. So I said, well, this is a hold. I am hanging on to this, and look what happened today. So we're down to 42.13. Sent out a text alert a little while ago to get out of this. Here it is. I'm going to my members, I'm going to start putting on the page, the member page where we had the opening trade. I'm going to start copying. I started that today. Good lesson learned is to paste the text alert that I sent out on here. So I looked this. What's this at now? It was at 0. It's maybe a penny or 0. Yeah, it was at 0 a little while ago. You could have potentially let this expire worthless today for $2,200, $2,300 gain in a week on limited risk of about $5,200. So there's the text right there. Remember, men lie, numbers don't. So sent out this text for an 80 to close at, earlier, about an hour ago, 87%, $1,950 profit in 1 week. That pays for an annual defensive membership here at Top Gun Options. So knew it was going to sell off. That FXI was going to sell off into the close, or at least on Friday, especially because earlier in the week, I'm like, there's no way in hell we're getting a trade deal done with Canada by Friday. 0. And we were right. We're going to talk about this next week. We're going to maybe start poking around the EWZ again. That's the Brazilian ETF. Things aren't necessarily super good down there, especially with the strong dollar, right? Strong dollar hits emerging markets pretty hard. So we're going to put this on your, if you remember, on your homework for next week to take a look at the EWZ, because I had a nice rally here, and I said, no thanks. And then here we are back again where it started to rally. So, and I think it might head a little bit lower. Good news, Japan to spend what? Billions on U.S. missile defense system. We love our Raytheon, baby. That's our defense sector trade and is the gift that keeps on giving. We have an Iron Condor that's going right down the fairway right now. Very, very good looking trade. So we're not looking too super right now. Dow's down about 60, S&P's down about 3 to 5. Volatility is up a little bit. What's the VIX looking like? When I jumped on the air, it was up a little bit. But VXX is up. What did we do? We put on a bull put spread earlier in the week. VXX is up 0.5%. So the bull put spread that we put on as a trade, right? It's a trade and a hedge. It's a trade that I think is going to make money and also serves as a hedge in case the market pulls back and volatility spikes. So great looking trade on volatility this week. So we have a great trade on FXI that I just showed you, and now we got long volatility earlier in the week out to next Friday. So really good stuff going on here, folks. Interesting. Core inflation came out today. We are at the Fed's 2% target rate. Spending is starting to heat up here. PCE, that came out today, Personal Consumption Expenditures Price Index, reached its fastest annual rate since 2012. What's that mean? Let me translate. That means that Mr. Fed, Jerome Powell, most likely has some serious altitude underneath him so he can raise interest rates. I think the Fed funds futures rate for was it December? We're getting at least 1 or 2 more interest rate increases this year is what I'm saying. So remember, one of the wisdoms you'll learn here at Top Gun Options is when interest rates are high, stocks will die. When interest rates are low, stocks will grow. So all this cheap money and stuff like that might be going away soon. And then University of Michigan, economic conditions, the worst since the election as spending plans plunge. So this was kind of a porridge bunch of reports today. So there's the Chicago PMI was a little bit of a beat, revised consumer sentiment and inflation expectations. So net, as I said, each one of these times we've had one of these rip your face off rallies, I say we're getting a little hypoxic up here. I don't think we're in for some big Sanford and Son, grab your chest, collapse on the ground, I'm coming Elizabeth type of pullback, but we are due for, and remember folks, September, October-ish are kind of volatile months anyway. And what do we have? Kavanaugh Supreme Court hearing coming up. The president said, I will, not I might, I will shut down the government if you don't fund my border wall. And by the way, there's a little something called midterm elections coming up. Iranian sanctions are in the background. A lot of stuff going on here, folks. So make sure you're hedged. It's just not a cute tagline that I sign off from these videos with. Make sure you're hedged, man. We have a trade on right now with volatility volatility, like I said, because this, as these things are going on, this is great. Our January 20, our long-term bullish positions are looking good. Our front-month bull put spreads are looking good. That's great. But, on a day like today, when there's some red, in the cockpit, you should have a nice green light staring at you, and that should be your hedge. Okay. If you want to know how to take a test flight here at Top Gun Options and what we do, just head to our homepage, topgunoptions.com, and just scroll down a little bit. For the price of not even the price of a went out on Las Olas the other night in Fort Lauderdale and got a glass of 1942, and it was $44. This 2-week test flight is cheaper than a glass of 1942 in Fort Lauderdale for $38. Maybe I'll raise it to 44. You can head to go.topgunoptions.com/go-flight, and that'll get you airborne for 2 weeks, which is very long. I mean, this is 4 live trade briefs in a week. So maybe we'll raise that to $44 and lower it to 7 days, man. Because if you can't figure out if you like what we do here at TGO within a day or two, I don't know what to tell you. And like I said, we've been crushing it lately. We closed a weekly options trade for those that were filled on that one in Amazon, a 1-day trade. Take a look at Amazon, man. It's the gift that keeps on giving. It was up at 2018 earlier, or 2020. We predicted this entire rise in Amazon. Back in October, I said, get out of these limousine liberal tech companies that are taking it on the chin today. Facebook, Twitter, even Apple, and Google. YouTube, they're silencing conservative voices. I've been silent. I've lost hundreds of followers, like in the blink of an eye, on Twitter. I'm like, okay, I seriously doubt 400 people just unfollowed me on Twitter. If you retweet certain people's stuff or post conservative stuff, you get shadow banned. And it's funny how this week, the Google CEO politely declined coming to the Capitol Hill to testify under oath. But, they released a statement. We don't manipulate search results. The day they said they don't manipulate search results, the highest search result for Trump news was CNN's article saying they don't manipulate search results. It's comical, folks. If you believe these limousine liberal tech companies, man, I'll leave it at that because we got to get going here. So, folks, have a great rest of your day. Like I said, just go to our homepage to take a test flight, or you can go directly to the page to grab your test flight at go.topgunoptions.com/go-flight. I will not see you Monday. If it's a 3-day weekend, does it mean partying and having fun? Nope. It means going up to Orlando and sitting in a nice cold rink for the weekend with your middle son's hockey tournament. So I'm going to be heading up to Orlando. So have a great rest of your day. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge, and God bless. And I'll see you for Tuesday's sit rep and also our joint weekly options and primary live trade brief. God bless.